The following is a transcript between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am, originally produced on June 4th, 2021, under the constellation of Gemini in the mental week, examining through the solar plexus. I am. You have a problem, and you know it, don't you? Me. Just one? I am. Well, there are different kinds of problems. There are those that we inherit, and those that we are not aware of, and those that are imposed on us by context, and those that we choose. Usually, you're full of problems that you choose. Me. That's true. I know I could live very peacefully, but I also create more and bigger and more complex things to make my peace of mind practically impossible. And that brings me to problems I choose, yes. I am. Today's topic leads us to talk about two problems that merge into one in your life. Two sides of the same coin that come together in the word connection. Me. Define problem. I am. As we defined it once before, problem is that which you have thrown forward with force and which you will face until you get to it again. Pro equals forward, and Balian, to throw with force. Me. What have I thrown? I am. Your will to connect to a world that is separate. Me. Of course, that's a big problem. I am. And you living separate from the world. Me. How? I am. Isn't it a beautiful paradox? Me. What do you mean? I am. Your addiction to the phone. Me. Just mine? I am. There will always be time to judge others, but I'd like you to judge yourself first. Me. Okay. Yes, I have a problem. I'm addicted to the phone. I am. Every time you sit down to write, every mid-sentence you write, even before you get to the comma or a period, you glance at your phone, even though nothing is happening there. Me. Now that you say it, I notice it more. I am. It's true. Tell me, why do you do it? Me. Well, I could give you all kinds of explanations, but I'm sure that you'll use them against me. I am. And it bothers you? Me. A little bit. I am. See, there you've given me reason for your addiction. Denial. Wanting to avoid talking about it so as to not acknowledge the conflict at its roots. Look, this is not a judgment, it's an observation. And we know that the phone is not negative. The problem is not in using it, but in trying to understand why you use it. Me. Well, that's fine. Let's get to it. Since I've been in Egypt, I've been using it more than ever. I'm on the phone all day long. Sometimes even in the shower. I listen to videos, or I talk, or I chat with many at once. I read all of the comments in the social networks, I check the emails, I look for things, I watch a series, and the reason is because most of the time, both here in Egypt and in my travels, I'm alone. I'm alone in the world, and on the phone I feel accompanied because I talk to friends who are not present. In other words, if technology gives me the option to communicate with those I can't see for a long time, as if they were with me, what's the problem? I am doing the same as when friends are present. Me. Well, I am. Admit it. Me. Well, yes, it's true. I don't have a logical explanation there. It's out of my hands. I am. We could talk about several reasons, but let's go to the easiest one to describe, biological logic. The brain is a data processor. It is like a muscle hungry for constant information, processing each new piece of information as if it were candy in a child's mouth. Data, sounds, color are the sugar of neurons. The greater the amount of data, the greater the stimulus, and therefore the greater the processing capacity. The brain is not flexible, it is mechanical, and therefore where it finds repetition mechanisms that deliver data, It will find its comfort, and it will try to repeat it, looking for more and more, harvesting information. The more sweets you eat, the more insulin the body will produce to capture the sugars. Therefore, instead of satisfying you, it only makes your body need more. The same thing happens with synapses. The more data you give it, the more it seeks to satiate the number of neurons that generate connection within you by managing data. This makes you need a constant source of changing data within the mechanical framework. Me, the swipe of the screen. I am. The designers of the platforms know about this basic functioning of the brain, and that's why they use it in systems such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Netflix, among many others. Me, it's a myriad of mechanical, automated data. I am. This is where the dependency occurs. The synapses generate electrical discharges or pulses that make the hormones react to promote the mobility of the body to generate mechanical actions that you have almost no control over, like looking at the phone. These pulses are translated into emotions, thus generating an emotional need to fill data gaps when you're not looking at the screen. The feeling is lack of connection, and yet it is the excess of connection that disconnects and separates you from the world. Me, right. The more data I look at on my phone, the more disconnected I am from the world and the more detached from reality. I am. Connect comes from the word calm, unity, and nectar, to tie, link, nexus. It is the action of joining nodes, nexus, tying loose ends. The word separate comes from se, to separate one thing from the other, and pare, to stop. This is to say, to separate would be the act of moving things apart to stop them where they are. When you connect things, you unify data, but when you fill yourself with the data, you create so many nexuses that impede the vibration and flexibility of the flow of information, causing it to stop, to stagnate. Me. Wow. I mean, it's like if in a guitar, instead of having only 6 pins to make it 6 strings sound, you add more pins to the same 6 strings, putting so many along the neck that there would come a time when the strings could not sound and there would be no vibration. I am a very good picture. You need breaks and distensions between one piece of data and the other for there to be a vibration. So the greater the connectivity, the greater the separation. Me. But if we are in networked times, entering the technological age of Aquarius, and our goal is to create a network of networks of consciousness, wouldn't so much connectivity be counterproductive? I am. The problem does not lie in the quantity of connections, but in the accumulation of connections. Following the image of the guitar, the accumulation of connection would be adding 72 new pins to the 6 strings. But in terms of a network of networks, it would be fitting 12 guitars each with its 6 pins, which together create a song. Me, of course, not wanting to absorb everything by oneself, but to do it among several, delegating. And excess of connectivity in one person generates separation. This is what we see in the world as it happens to myself. The more information, the more division, the more acceptance of diversity, the more groups that appear and separate into collectives. The more human and united that we want to become in order to respect each other, we end up generating more separation between parts and individuals. I am. It is the counterproductivity of positivism. It is the unity that deunites. It is the connection that separates, the group that divides. Me. How to connect without being addicted to connection. I am. In the time of networks and communications, the human will begin to merge more and more with technology every day, and this brings a positive and negative aspect. Me. What is the positive of merging with technology? I am. The inevitable development, the expansion of human thinking and capabilities. It is not negative because the human is almost part of a technology, a biological technology, which has been evolving by trial and error, combining technological organisms such as bacteria and viruses, cells and fungi, which have adapted to our interior, improving the species. Me. But when we hear that we want to put chips in us, that's terrible because it's a horrible control. I am. Therein lies the negative aspect. There is no progress without will, and there is no progress from imposition. You cannot force an individual to go the way that he does not want to go. This is the serious challenge, the loss of humanity. To consider technology as the only solution, separating us from the earth, from each other, generating unnecessary battles. Me. How not to lose that humanity? I am. By developing one's own technology and interconnectivity. Don't you see? You are your biggest phone, your biggest Wi-Fi, your biggest connection, your best technology. Connecting to yourself, having your times of silence, of listening to the richness within, of your using imagination and the arts. It is what develops natural technology. You should never, ever prohibit technology or its use, denying its usefulness. But on the contrary, you should simply focus on improving your own technology, growing internally along with the external one. The human challenge is to advance in biological technology, the development of your own being, to the level of advancement of external technology. Me. I once met with a person from India, a spiritual millionaire, with whom I talked about the Yosoy project and the intention to connect the networks to harmonize the earth and humanity. And his answer left me puzzled. He told me that will be obsolete because inner development is very slow, and what people are really looking for is happiness, nothing else. And every experience of well-being and spirituality comes from a chemical reaction at the glandular level. By having a chip that can regulate your hormones, you could be happy forever, and there would be no conflicts on earth. That's our goal. I thought it was horrible, and I left. I am. Why do you think it's horrible? Me. I thought it was inhuman. I am. And what is it to be human? Me. Well, it is to be an entity capable of connecting from its being, from its emotions, to be a creator, an adventurer, someone who collaborates from its nature, not because an electric pulse from a chip tells it to. I am. And how does a chip that sends an electrical signal to a gland differ from the electrical signal that your brain sends to the same gland? Me. The one is external and the other is internal. I am. If the result is the same, the end is the same. How do they differ? Me. I don't know. I am. They differ simply in the factor of consciousness. The rest is the same. A population that seeks to survive and be happy is unconscious, for it is based on basic needs as the only end, eternal life as the idea of true victory. However, these are all animal ideas. self-consciousness. Audiopoiesis, of which we have spoken, is the only differentiation between a biological process and a technological one. If you face a people who seek to connect out of necessity, you will find a world that is connectedly separate but happy. If you face a people who seek to be the connection itself by the simple fact of being, of experiencing and enjoying existence, you will find a world connected to consciousness, Creator. And to be conscious or not does not depend on you, but on the will of each one. Both paths are logical because those who do not seek consciousness can acquire the chip and be happy. Why would you prevent them from just being happy? Just because your ideology does not allow it? Wouldn't you be like all of the ideologies that you criticize? Me. Sure, I understand. I can't fight against something that I consider good for others when others do not consider it good for them. I am. Therefore, your role is to connect to yourself, to create better synapses by expanding to others who seek the same, creating networks that facilitate the world to discover its infinite power to create evolutionary networks without preventing the unconscious from finding the longed-for happiness they seek. Even if they are controlled, it is their choice. You can only watch over those who wish to live awake and free. Me. And what about helping those who do not know that they are imprisoned by that false connectivity? I am. You cannot take them out of their truth. Only show them yours, and they will decide. Me, I understand. I am. But first, you must be free yourself from the control that the world imposes upon you. You have come to connect the networks, but you will not be able to do so if the very networks that you will use keep you imprisoned, taking away the space to connect with yourself. Too much information is counterproductive to a flexible mind. Knowing more does not make you wise. Me. What makes me wise? I am. Be yourself. Me. I am.